There is an animal at the bottom of the ocean that looks exactly like someone left a face out in the sun too long. It has a nose that droops like it gave up halfway down, a mouth that curves into the saddest frown you have ever seen in your life, and two tiny little eyes that look in slightly different directions. Scientists looked at it and said, "Yeah, that is the world's ugliest animal." But here's the thing nobody tells you. That face is a lie. The blobfish does not actually look like that. In its real home, deep at the bottom of the ocean under crushing pressure, it looks like a completely normal fish. The melted sad face only happens when you drag it up to the surface and the pressure difference destroys its whole body structure. That face you have seen on every mug and t-shirt in existence is just what happens when a fish has a very bad day. So the world's ugliest animal is not actually ugly. It is just a victim of circumstances. We all have our moments. Now forget the blobfish, because what I am about to show you next makes the blobfish look like a golden retriever. Somewhere in the warm ocean right now, floating upside down on the surface of the water, is something called Glaucus atlanticus, the blue dragon. It is about the size of your thumbnail. It is silver and cobalt blue, and it is one of the most beautiful and most terrifying things alive. Here is its trick. The blue dragon eats Portuguese man-o'-war jellyfish. That is already insane because the man-o'-war is one of the most venomous creatures in the ocean and will put a grown adult in the hospital. The blue dragon does not care. It eats the jellyfish, keeps the venom, concentrates it in its own fingertips, and then uses it as a weapon. It has essentially stolen someone else's superpower and decided to keep it. And because it floats upside down, its silver belly faces upward toward the sky, blending in with the water surface from above. Its blue back faces downward, blending in with the deep ocean from below. It is invisible from every direction. A venomous, invisible assassin the size of your thumbnail floating around the ocean just waiting for you to pick it up on a beach because it looks pretty. Do not pick it up on a beach. Let us move on to something even stranger, something that lives in Madagascar, and that the local people believe is a death omen sent directly to kill you. The eye. It looks like someone built an animal in the dark using parts from 5 different creatures. It has the body of a cat, the teeth of a beaver, the ears of a bat, the eyes of something that has seen things no living thing should see, and the hands of a nightmare. One of its fingers is about twice as long as all the others, just one, the middle one. It sticks out like a thin bony twig, and the eye uses it to tap on tree bark, listen for hollow spaces underneath, chew a hole in the wood with its enormous front teeth, and then reach that skeletal finger inside to pull out larvae. It essentially invented its own version of echolocation hunting. With its finger. In Madagascar, many people believe that if an eye points its long middle finger at you, you are going to die. The whole village has to be ritually cleansed. The eye itself has to be killed immediately. Scientists think this is not accurate. The eye is not a death omen. It is just a primate trying to get a snack and doing it in the most unsettling way physically possible. Nobody told the eye this. In the sandy desert of Argentina lives a creature that sounds made up. It is called the Pink Fairy Armadillo. It is about the size of your hand. It has a soft, rose-pink shell on its back that looks like a tiny quilted saddle, thick, fluffy white fur underneath, and enormous front claws that are almost bigger than its own face. It uses those claws to swim through sand like it is liquid. It just disappears into the ground and is gone. Scientists know almost nothing about it because every time they try to keep one in captivity to study it, the animal is so fragile and so stressed that it is usually dead within days. It is possibly the least aggressive creature on this list. It just wants to be underground. It wants to be left alone. It wants to swim through sand in peace and never think about any of us ever again. Back to the deep ocean, because the deep ocean is where evolution apparently decided to stop trying. On the floor of the abyssal plain, in total darkness, 2 miles below the surface, there are herds. Actual herds of creatures called sea pigs. They are about the size of a potato. They are pale pink and translucent. They walk on inflated tube feet. They have long, thin antenna things waving from their backs. And they travel in groups of hundreds across the pitch-black ocean floor, eating mud. They do not have eyes. There is no light down there for eyes to be useful. They navigate entirely by detecting the smell of food in the water current, and they all face the same direction into that current as they walk. Hundreds of pale, pink, mud-eating, eyeless creatures marching together through the darkness. Now for something that is funny for a completely different reason. A bird called the hoatzin. It lives in the Amazon rainforest. It is spectacular looking. Huge, spiky orange crest on its head, beautiful brown and chestnut feathers. It sounds impressive until you get close to it. The hoatzin digests food using the same system as a cow. Bacterial fermentation in its crop. This works very well for cows because cows are large and live in fields. For the hoatzin, it means the bird smells absolutely terrible. The locals call it the stink bird. No predator will eat it because nothing wants to put that in its mouth. The hoatzin has essentially achieved invincibility through the power of being disgusting. It also does something that haunted scientists for years. Its baby chicks are born with tiny functional claws on their wings. They use these claws to climb trees before they can fly. This trait was thought to have vanished from birds around 150 million years ago with animals like Archaeopteryx, the dinosaur bird. The hoatzin chick just still has them. It never got the memo that those were supposed to be gone. Now something less funny. Something that lives in water so deep and so dark that humans discovered it relatively recently. The ghost shark, also called the chimera. It branched off from actual sharks around 400 million years ago and has barely changed since. It has one enormous eye that looks like a pale blue mirror, a body that tapers into a long, thin whip of a tail, wing-like fins that make it look like it glides more than swims. It hunts in complete darkness using sensors in its face that detect the electrical fields of other animals. It does not need to see you. It can feel you. It patrols the deep ocean silently, slowly, sensing everything, visible to nothing. It has been doing this since before the dinosaurs existed. It will probably still be doing it long after we are gone. Which brings us to the last one, the one that changes everything. It is called a tardigrade. You cannot see it without a microscope. It is less than 1 millimeter long. It has 8 stubby legs with tiny claws on the end. It looks like a microscopic water bear that wandered out of a children's book. And it cannot die, not literally, but almost. Researchers at the University of Stuttgart and across multiple research institutions worldwide have studied what happens when you put a tardigrade through conditions that would destroy literally anything else. Boiling water, freezing temperatures near absolute zero, the vacuum of outer space with full radiation exposure, pressure 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trench, complete dehydration for up to 30 years. The tardigrade survives all of it. In the case of dehydration, it simply shuts down every biological process it has, turns itself into a tiny dried ball, and waits, for decades if necessary. Then add water and it wakes up and keeps walking. It has survived all 5 mass extinctions. It was on Earth before the dinosaurs. It outlived the dinosaurs. It will almost certainly outlive us. Scientists believe it will still be here when the sun begins to die and the oceans evaporate and the surface of the Earth becomes uninhabitable. The tardigrade will still be there. 8 legs, tiny claws, completely unbothered.